Hey, Skiba News Nation family, please make sure you like, subscribe, and share with others so we can grow the biggest truth-seeking community on the internet. Also, huge shout out to all of our Patreons. It's because of you guys we're able to do what we do. And if you want some extra content, please go to patreon.com/Skiba News Nation. We love you guys.
Welcome to Skiba News Nation, bringing you unfiltered views, news, interviews, discussions, and more. And now, here's your host, Jeremiah Skiba, award-winning musician and son of Rob Skiba.
With the son of the legendary Rob Skiba. Jeremiah Skiba, what's up?
With my great and insightful co-host, Mr. Jake Grant.
Dude, someone should do conspiracy news. It would be 10 times better than what you see on television.
It's like I don't even want to wake up.
He's on a quest for truth.
Hey, Skiba News Nation. Welcome to episode 159 of Skiba News Nation, your weekly source of the latest news, controversial topics, and controversy, histories, mysteries, if you will. History and so much more. I'm your host, Jeremiah Skiba, co-host Jake Grant. What's up, Jake? What's going on?
Hey, Jeremiah. Oh, man, not much. I do have a clip that I'm going to insert right here of me winning those tickets at the arcade the other day. I was telling you guys I'd show you this week. Yeah, for sure. That's pretty impressive. But anyways, what do you think about arcades, Jeremiah?
Yeah, I love arcades. It's like a casino for children. It teaches them young.
How about you? What do you got going on?
Just taking care of Opa and about it. Doing other things and hanging out and can't think of anything. I'm trying to think. I think something happened this week. I don't know if I told everybody I was on Elijah Schaefer's show. I think I did on the weekend. And that was the last big thing I did. But overall, it was a pretty good week. It's
Awesome.
getting there. Getting stronger every day.
Well, you get ready to get into some news?
Let's do it.
Hey, make way! Jake Grant is on the way for Skiba News Nation. He brings the situation.
Intro. Let's go ahead and start off with some of the biggest news that's related to some content we've covered on this channel, which is, of course, that Tom O'Neill went and testified before Congress regarding Jack Ruby, Charles Manson, CIA assets, MKUltra, mind control, and
It's about time.
it is another big win for conspiracy theorists. So we're going to watch several clips of this, but let's start with this one.
In that Jack Ruby and Manson were assets of the intelligence agencies, specifically pertaining to MKUltra. Were they MKUltra victims?
Yeah, theoretically, Manson, I've never been able to prove absolutely. Jack Ruby, I believe this is something else. The Warren Commission investigation on the Warren Commission was Alan Dulles, the former CIA director, who authorized and ran MKUltra until he was fired by President Kennedy. The liaison to the committee for the CIA, who handled the information coming from the CIA back and forth to the Warren Commission, was Richard Helms, who was a direct supervisor of Jolly West. They knew who West was. They knew that what West was capable of and what they had paid him to do and what he had reported to them that he could do, including inducing mental disorders in people. That was never disclosed to the commission as far as anyone knows. So I believe that Wes was put in there to keep Jack Ruby from telling his story.
Wow.
So I remember when we first interviewed Tom O'Neill, you had no idea who he was. And then once we had him, it was like a really great conversation where he said all this stuff. So if you want to learn more about it, about what he knows, read the book Chaos and check out our interviews. Pretty amazing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think it's really cool that, we had him on the channel already. And, it's just the fact that they're bringing a figure like this in front of Congress, in front of the world, and he's talking about some very empirically provable conspiracies in the U.S. government. It's fascinating. Just fascinating to what he talks about.
And I guess even the Charlie Kirk shooting. I just hate to speculate because I don't know. I have no firsthand knowledge whether those guys were programmed through radio waves or through their computer activity. So I would never hazard a guess except to say what I've already said, that they developed means that we've never been told about many, many years ago. And I imagine they've evolved to be much more effective now. So
let me interrupt you one more time, and I apologize again. But don't you think that they could cast this broad net through these algorithms and other things? And maybe they don't know the exact person it's going to affect, but they know what type of person it's going to affect, and they know it's going to happen. And that way they can't predict when it's going to happen, but they think it will happen. And then that way they can sort of wash their hands of this whole thing and say, well, we didn't have anything to do with it. But in effect, they really did, because they put this out there, and they continue to put it out there. To what other method you're talking about. Go ahead, guys. I'm sorry. Ma'am, if you want to jump in. Okay. Doctor, go ahead.
It sounds to me like you're describing something like the Martin Luther King assassination. The FBI didn't carry it out, but it created such a climate just denouncing King as the most dangerous man in America and putting out all this material about how he was helping communists that they must have thought it's going to filter down. Somebody will take action, and then we can say we didn't have anything to do with it.
James Earl Ray was a third-rate thief. He made an incredible shot, 1 foot on a commode, 1 foot in a bathtub, leaning out of a window, basically. And the next day, or that afternoon, all the shrubbery was cut.
For one, it's just like, all the conspiracy theorists are like, hey, the mainstream's finally getting to hear about Tom O'Neill and some of the things he was pointing out. But it's significant because, just like he said, they have probably far more and beyond what we're learning about back in the 60s and 70s, have ramped up this mind control programming, and they likely are much better at it. And they probably are using it today. And that's why he mentioned things like Charlie Kirk. Now, he said he doesn't like to speculate. And there were some things in our conversation that, when you guys go back and watch it on our channel, that stood out to me as peculiar. Like, for one, I was bringing up the Hegelian dialectic, and he was unfamiliar with that term, which I was really confused about, but maybe I just pronounced it wrong or something. But the Hegelian dialectic, which is the problem, action, solution, all originating from a single source, is exactly what kind of I drew away from the Manson case, which is they were trying to turn this musical, influential kind of cult leader guy and trying to pin a conspiracy to murder on him, which then in the long game shuts down the musical revolution that was happening in the 60s and 70s against the Vietnam War. And it's interesting how the government was identifying that music was powerful, that musical leaders are extra influential and powerful. And then they make these worst case example scenarios so that they can then insert their own kind of the hip hop, deception of how they're pushing certain influences and agendas through music. And that ties into this whole thing of how they're doing it today, Jeremiah, which is this next video, which is a fascinating kind of AI cartoon depiction of exactly what's being talked about here with Tom.
CIA created the hippie movement, and your mom's favorite band probably helped them. In the 1950s, the CIA bought up the world's supply of LSD. They brought it to the pharmaceutical company Eli Lilly, who reverse engineered it, giving them an unlimited supply and a complete monopoly. Then the testing started. One early volunteer for these tests was Ken Kesey. Kesey wrote a book inspired by this experience, which became a bestseller. Then Kesey went on to host events, which he called acid tests. And he wasn't charging anyone. He just wanted people to show up and do acid. For these events, he hired an unknown house band called the Grateful Dead. These events became wildly popular, and with them rose the popularity of the band. So the Grateful Dead begins touring, and Kesey follows them around in a bus from show to show. And everywhere he went, he brought a vat full of Kool-Aid laced with LSD. This guy had a seemingly endless supply, exporting the hippie culture all around the US. Meanwhile, the CIA is flooding college campuses with LSD under the guise of research. And the Grateful Dead was just one of many bands in this movement. At the same time, in Laurel Canyon came a wave of musicians with something in common. They were all children of high-ranking military officials. The biggest names in music. Jim Morrison of the Doors was the son of an admiral. Frank Zappa's father was a chemical warfare specialist. Even Crosby, Stills, and Nash. Yeah, all three of them. And all of these bands as well. The theory is the CIA orchestrated the hippie movement to steer a very real anti-war movement into something a little easier to combat. Dissent without teeth. The hippie slogan was literally,
turn on, tune in, and drop out.
In other words, do acid and remove yourself from society. And a lot of them did drop out of society to go live in communes in the woods. This intersection between hippie culture and the CIA could all be a great big coincidence. Maybe military brats naturally want to rebel. And maybe the CIA was giving away acid because they're chill like that. Or maybe...
Yep. Or maybe. What do you think about that video? Do you think it was pretty accurate?
Yeah, but for the time, the 60s, we're going to be talking about history's mysteries, something that we talked about a long time ago, which was, and it has a lot to do with today, but it's, how the Oliver Tree and people trying to break away from music, and it dates back really far. And so using the Grateful Dead was like almost the perfect tool to have these people, take LSD. And it was like, I mean, it's so well documented that it's undeniable.
Wow. Yeah, it's so amazing how powerful music can be. And it makes me want to have the next hippie revolution today, but things are so manipulated and controlled. We have all these false protests and stuff. And it's not that I'm like trying to be a hippie or anything. It's just that the power of a large amount of people saying we're not going to participate in the government's agenda or this or that. It is powerful. And it's how these counterculture movements really started snowballing and affecting the world. And today I think the system is terrified of that possibly ever happening. And so they create the music festivals nowadays. They create the contents of the music that's being pushed on us, or they select it. And so anyways, long story short, that's the latest on Tom O'Neill and how it relates to today's world, guys. So this next little clip, it's just 20 seconds, but it's really fascinating. It's a art installment that is recently been depicted at the European Parliament. And, with all the UFO disclosure stuff that's been coming out recently, man, this one is fascinating because it's literally, check it out, a reptilian holding boxes full of people.
A simulation.
It's like they're telling you who they are. Right?
Why are
they holding them in a box? I mean, I like the art. Now, if there was some kind of outside artist who's like, I'm going to make a statement and I'm going to put this art installation to comment on the grander Epstein-esque conspiracy of world leaders, right? But if it wasn't that and they chose to put this art installation in there, it's almost mocking like we are this and we're just like dangling in front of you, showing how much we have you in a box.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy. It's almost like simulation. What if they're saying that the aliens are simulating humankind,
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't interpret that into the art until now that you brought it up. I could see that.
Yeah, we're all just players in their game. Or are we?
Or are we, right? Oh, on the ongoing topic of immigration stuff, an important decision could have been made, but this is just a satire, picture. Apparently, the Supreme Court has ruled that any baby born at Olive Garden is an Italian citizen.
Right. I've always said that.
Yeah, it makes sense. And to have birth in the Olive Garden is just so beautiful. It's just a beautiful experience. Get me a breadstick.
It's happening. The baby is coming.
Ma'am, breadsticks for the table?
Breadsticks?
These will help.
Fine. Gimme.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's like the poor man's, we're gonna go out to dinner, honey. You know what I mean?
They'll have to feed you if you're in labor.
I'll take you to a nice fancy place called Olive Garden.
Olive Garden. Oh my.
Olive Garden.
Oh gosh. Well, the reason I wanted to talk about this immigration topic is we've had so many protests happening in the UK, all about the hostile immigration policies of Europe and the EU. And there's actually a video of one of the guys that recently started these big protests, where the citizens were coming out, storm the streets, chanting against, the migrants. And, this is apparently the Muslim murderer of Lee Rigby speaking to the camera right after he just decapitated a guy on the street of London.
I like decapitated better.
Decapitated. So
chop the head off.
This is why people are freaking out about these individuals showing up on the street.
Muslims are dying daily by British soldiers. And this British soldier is an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. By Allah, we swear by the Almighty Allah, we will never stop fighting you until you leave us alone. So what if we want to live by the Sharia in Muslim lands? Why does that mean you must follow us and chase us and call us extremists and kill us? Rather, you lot are extreme. You are the ones. When you drop a bomb, do you think it picks one person, or rather your bomb wipes out a whole family? This is the reality. By Allah, if I saw your mother today with a buggy, I would help her up the stairs. This is my nature. But we are forced by the Quran in Surah At-Tawbah, through many ayat throughout the Quran, that we must fight them as they fight us. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. I apologize that women had to witness this today, but in our lands, our women have to see the same. You people will never be safe. Remove your governments. They don't care about you. Do you think David Cameron is going to get caught in the street? When we start busting our guns, do you think the politicians are going to die? No, it's going to be the average guy like you and your children. So get rid of them. Tell them to bring our troops back so you can all live in peace. Leave our lands and you will live in peace. That's all I have to say. And may Allah's peace and blessings be upon Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Completely decapitated a guy right on the street and had a very contradictory message of basically, I'm randomly kill somebody on your street because people are suffering in my hometown.
Yeah. Peaceful people.
And
that's what you call a peaceful protest, my friend.
Exactly. Yeah. And the other day, I was watching some debates between some Muslims and some Jews. And
oh god.
A very interesting conversation. This video you're about to watch reminds me of the reptilians that were put in front of the EU Parliament.
Mm-hmm.
So check out Joe Rogan.
So Godzilla, you'll never guess who I ran into.
Yeah, man. They're having podcasts with AI swapping out Joe Rogan for a reptilian, pterodactyl or whatever. Just wait. Before long, we're going to have real podcasts as they present our alien overlords, and they're going to look just the same. They're just going to be sitting there talking about
You don't think they already have that? I'm starting to think that somebody who we invited to TrutherCon is actually turning back into AI. I'll just leave it at that.
Let's check out this, guys. So we are living in the midst of summer, and the temperatures all across the USA have been crazy bad. It's been hot, very hot. Okay, so just in, France apparently right now is hotter than 99% of the world. So like it's 109 deaths in Paris in just the past 24 hours. Yesterday and today, it's like 110 degrees in Kentucky or something. And
that's about how hot it was when I went to Austin. It was so weird because leaving Dallas just to go to Austin, like I didn't get out of the car and my glasses fogged up as soon as I stepped outside. That's how you know it's hot.
Oh yeah. So it's been just brutally hot.
So stay indoors.
There's a massive extinction level event, and Palantir just got exposed as a federal lawsuit is being filed against Palantir Technologies and several of the other founders. And the complaints is that Palantir is deploying AI surveillance being used by the Pentagon, and they're deploying it against American public and citizens, focusing in on harvesting biometric data and censoring speech. So this is what the plaintiff has claimed, and this is what we've been talking about conspiratorially about Palantir for quite a few episodes now.
Have our clearest sign yet that it's being accelerated, but some brave individuals are trying to stop it. A new groundbreaking lawsuit, arguably one of the most important lawsuits in history, has just been filed against one of the most powerful and secretive technology companies in America, Palantir Technologies, along with its billionaire founder, Peter Thiel, CEO Alex Karp, and the COO, Shyam Sankar. Now, the plaintiffs are listed anonymously in this complaint as John Doe and Jane Doe, but it's way bigger than just these names. They allege that Palantir has crossed a constitutional Rubicon, if you will, using its artificial intelligence systems to surveil, profile, and manipulate the American public without our consent.
A collection company, it basically surveils and checks and takes all your data and synthesizes it to create a picture about a person, a place, or a thing. Now, since this is now very public, in terms of what the company intends to do, it's been slowly preparing the public, and that was quite apparent when the presence was known at a very well-watched event that happened recently during the Charlie Kirk funeral, where Palantir was on the wall right next to the stage, as if they were sponsoring the event, which I found.
I didn't know that.
I saw that as, it's a funeral. It's a funeral for everybody, based upon the media ecological effects of what technology does when you insert it and begin to use it. And when
Wow, that's interesting that we covered this topic of MKUltra. Even Tom O'Neill mentioned he did bring his name up, Charlie Kirk, right? Mm-hmm. And then they're associating Palantir, this monitoring thing, with funding the funeral of Charlie Kirk or being plastered on the wall next to it. So, oh man, it just makes me think like it comes full circle, like in how all of these government agendas are like tethered to each other in a really weird way. You know what I mean?
Yep. It's all connected.
Like the fact that they're trying to make this lawsuit and sue, and this is happening right at the same time as other things are being exposed. It's just timing wise fascinating.
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to move on to another story here. Here in the U.S., just yesterday.
All right, we're going to go back to this breaking news. Police say that the scene at an Islamic center in San Diego is active but contained after reports of an active shooter there.
Okay, so we had an active shooter yesterday at an Islamic center in California. Check this out. Experts claim, now this is going to be interesting, seeing when this comes to surface, but experts are claiming that there's a secret tape of the invasion of Washington UFO meeting, and the public will soon hear it. So this is all on the tail of all the disclosure, declassification stuff. And apparently we're going to see a invasion of Washington meeting, or hear the meeting. So I don't know if this when exactly this meeting happened, but they're starting to kind of drum up anticipation for it. So I'm curious what that meeting's going to be about. What do you think it's going to be about, Jeremiah?
I have no idea.
What do you think the aliens told the government back in the 80s or 90s if they were meeting with them back in the 70s or 80s?
To shut up.
Just shut up.
Just stop your wars and shut up, or your flat planet will be exposed as being flat. Wouldn't that be cool?
That would be cool. I guess we'll see, because apparently they're going to release it soon, so we'll all find out. Also, yesterday in Mexico, there was a massive fireball sent into the sky as there's a big gas explosion. So, I like explosions. And did you see that huge explosion of one of the biggest attacks on southern Lebanon that Israel has committed recently?
Mm-mm.
It was
No, I haven't.
It was enormous. It was enormous. It was like they
an atomic bomb.
It looked like it didn't look like an atomic bomb. What it looked like is they shot a bomb into a place with a bunch of other bombs. And then it kind of reminded me of the Beirut explosion, which is also in Lebanon, by the way, where it was just huge. But yeah, there's
explosions.
Check this out. It's really interesting, and you're going to actually get a kick out of this controversy between the nation state of Israel and the topic of Palestine as a state. And yes, I know it's nuanced, it's complicated. Gaza, there's, the indigenous Jewish people that live in the land, the indigenous Palestinians, Islam, Jewishness, Christianity, all the things. Well, accidentally, the system glitched, Jeremiah. And Israel last week accidentally voted for Palestine to become a state. And so it's just check this out. The speaker could hardly believe it.
Belarus, Djibouti, Egypt, Eritrea, Indonesia, Israel.
Got him. They voted. It's going through.
Jordan.
Cool. Isn't that funny?
Did he skip it?
No, he stopped because it doesn't make sense, because they're all against the a two-state solution, of course. And I'm not casting either way on. I think there's a conspiracy to also this thing that's trying to be pushed through. But the point is that during the big vote, they accidentally voted the wrong direction. So it's kind of all right.
Yeah. I just believe in no wars. Just stop war.
No war. Yeah, man. So there was a extremely viral, I don't know exactly what to call it. Basically, a man and a woman climbed to the top of the Empire State Building.
Did you see our post about it? We made a meme about it. I loved it. And it went viral.
It was a good one. So they go up there, and the guy basically proposes, right? And then they hold up a whole flag about when the power of love is stronger than the love of power, and then something along those lines.
How do they? I just want to know how they got up there. The music's kind of loud.
Jungle gemmed it, man. Jungle gemmed it all the way to the top.
Yeah, but you have to I'm sure to get to that level, you have to have some kind of clearance. There's no way that they were just allowed to do that. No way that they were allowed to get to the roof of the Empire State.
Oh no, they were arrested directly after.
Probably released right after. Did she say yes? Oh my god.
You say yes? Okay. What if he got up there and proposed to her and she was like, no, and then he
that would have been greater. That'd have been so much greater.
It would have been shocking and horrific. I'm glad she said yes. And it seems like they are promoting a documentary on Netflix, which is called Skywalkers, a love story. So fantastic promotional material. Oh my gosh, man. Like this is going to make that documentary blow up.
Well, now us meme lords, I consider me and Lindsay meme lords because whatever is popular, we just change whatever it is by the power of Grok. And it's free promotion.
Yeah, I loved your meme. I loved your meme. I'm going to stick it right here, everybody. Why haven't we been to the moon yet? Eh? That's a good question. That should have been on that flag. I get it.
Well, I had a couple different ones that said, "Don't be retarded. Come to TrutherCon 2026."
That would have been sweet. Maybe we should climb a tower somewhere, Jeremiah. What do you think?
You have fun. I'm not doing that. That's some white people shit right there. I'm not doing that. No,
I'm not a white person. Don't worry. Okay, here we
Me
go.
neither. I identify as a black.
I identify as a salmon. No, I don't. I identify as a frog prince. All right. There's one more story I wanted to tell you about, Jeremiah. I'm kind of
Is it the biggest story? Is it the biggest story in the world?
It's
quite
the biggest
frankly
one that happened in a place that I visited as a boy. Completely erupted. Check this out. When I was growing up, I went to All Volcano, which is what you're seeing here. And I was walking around this little lake that you see right along the edge. In fact, I think I could point out where I was coming down the slopes is over on this left side of the image here. And so we went there for like a school like field trip activity thing. We camped out on Tall Volcano, and now it has erupted. So I'm like, man, I was standing right here where this happened.
Look, this video of a volcano erupting today in the Philippines. You can see it, the explosion there coming out of that crater of water. Officials say the whole thing lasted about 5 minutes, sending that cloud of ash and smoke some 4,000 feet into the sky. And take a look, this video of a volcano.
Nice.
Yep.
No.
You like explosions and volcanoes. I've come to learn that about you.
I was there, you know. I think most guys, as long as the explosion's not in their own face, they enjoy, you know, the power, the lights, the show, right? Oh gosh.
Yep. And I do want to clear something up about the live. You had made a statement about toxoplasmosis, and then somebody said something about in the comments about how it like killed one of her kids, and I said more kids die from dogs than they do of cats. Just fun fact. Look at the pit bull. You know, it's a more dangerous animal than a cat.
Yeah, very, very deadly. Very deadly.
Parasite.
But also, you're saying what the parasites want you to say. Okay.
Trust cats, says the voices. It's not a suggestion, it's a command. The voice says, "The cats know the way. We must know the way. Join the movement. Trust cats, says the voices."
No, they're aliens. I think cats are aliens.
They are. They're just the vehicles for the parasites. They're just like the meat mechs.
Yeah.
The little worms, right?
Where's my little alien?
All right, guys. Well, that's all the news for this week.
If you think I was the mastermind behind COVID,
did you think that 9/11 was an inside job?
Or if you think that I was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein,
then me and Big Mike would like to invite you to TrutherCon 2026 on November 7th and 8th. Get your tickets today at truthercon.com. Be there or be gay.
And my heart goes out to you.
right. Well, for this week's History's Mysteries, I thought I'd pull one out of the bank, out of the vault, because it just has so much to do with today. And a lot of people weren't subscribers then. And I thought it was just so perfect. But it's about Jimi Hendrix and how he was trying to leave the music industry. He was murdered. There's no doubt about it in my mind that he was murdered, because it's physically impossible, just like Kurt Cobain, just like everybody who tries to leave music. So let's just check it out.
Jimi Hendrix had pushed himself too far was reflected by his poor health, but also in his complex financial situation and his numerous clashing social entanglements. All of these would come to a head in 1970, piling enormous strain on a musician at a moment of great physical and emotional weakness.
Yeah, well, sometimes it gets to be really easy to sing the blues.
According to ABC, Hendrix himself was well aware of the precariousness of his situation, telling a reporter in an interview at the time, "I'm not sure I will live to be 28 years old." According to The Independent, Hendrix told friends and journalists that he felt directionless and unable to trust any of the people around him, and the person he shared the last of his life with, named Monika Dannemann. Monika Dannemann was a German figure skater who became close to Jimi Hendrix, her musical idol, after meeting him following his 1969 concert in Dusseldorf. Dannemann's account of her relationship with Hendrix is unreliable. Dannemann claimed that she and Hendrix were engaged, deeply in love, and have been in a committed relationship for 18 months at the time of his death. Many in Hendrix's social circle have contested this, claiming that their relationship was far more casual. Whatever the exact nature of their relationship might have been, Hendrix did turn to Dannemann that fateful night. Details are sketchy, but the official story goes that Dannemann had come to London to reconnect with the legendary guitarist. Hendrix had been previously taking amphetamines, and finding he was unable to sleep at Dannemmann's hotel suite, took 9 of her Vesparac sleeping pills, 18 times the recommended dose. As the circumstances of Hendrix's tragic death flooded the newspapers in the days and weeks following, Dannemann, as the last person to see the rock star alive, was given a huge amount of visibility and notoriety, Dannemann being the last face Hendrix saw before he died. With some, that fact bestowed on Dannemann instant quasi-religious status. To others, she was forever the focus for suspicion surrounding the circumstances of Hendrix's death. Dannemmann's testimony concerning what exactly happened the night of Hendrix's death was wildly inconsistent. In some stories, Dannemann claims to have left the hotel room early in the morning to buy cigarettes, and her account of what she found on her return changes. In ABC's recounting of Hendrix's death, the network had this to say about Dannemmann's ever-changing story. Having found Hendrix unresponsive, either dead or near death, Dannemann claimed she rang an ambulance sometime between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Later, she insisted Hendrix was alive as he was loaded into the ambulance. Dannemann may have purposely delayed calling for an ambulance to give her time to clear the hotel room of narcotics and cover up evidence of drug taking. According to The Independent, Hendrix's friend Eric Burden has claimed this was the case and that he helped to clean the apartment, but his story has also changed in the intervening years, making his recollection suspect, as well as that of other members of Hendrix's inner circle in the know, such as Eric Burden. One of the most notorious theories was that Hendrix was in fact murdered by his manager Michael Jeffrey, from whom Hendrix was attempting to extricate himself at the time of his death. The story made headlines in 2009 thanks to a book written by former roadie James Tappy Wright, which claims that Jeffrey had confessed to the murder in private prior to his own death in a plane crash in 1973, per The Guardian. The Guardian also reported that Jeffrey told Wright, "We went round to his hotel room, got a handful of pills and stuffed them into his mouth, then poured a few bottles of red wine deep into his windpipe," who had reportedly kidnapped Hendrix the previous year during a drug sale. A 2008 story in Newshounds even suggests that the FBI may have played a role in the rock icon's death.
I think it's very interesting how it connects with what we were talking about with musical influential people. And there's actually a very interesting Jimi Hendrix quote that just got plastered all over the world, which was that, you know, when the power of love is greater than the love of power, then the world will have peace. That was a Jimi Hendrix quote.
Well, and he's pretty much quoting his life at that time because it was controlled, which you'll find out here in a second, by his manager. And a lot of people think that he had a lot to do with Jimmy's death. And so that's what I think this next clip's going to be about. So
handlers.
Huge amounts of money in the music business had forged an unlikely partnership between the CIA and the Mafia.
Of course, the Mafia had their hooks into the music business going back to the jukebox wars. And then in World War II, the OSS started up a program called Operation Underworld, which entailed the actual recruitment of key Mafia figures to operate in Italy and the United States, right? And after World War II, they continued this brotherhood between the CIA and the Mafia that continues to the present day. Now, under Operation Chaos, I mentioned that all intelligence agencies have been brought into the umbrella program. Well, the Mafia was brought into it too because they were central to the music business itself, and they could be used to control and ultimately, in some cases, murder musicians who are outspoken in their opposition to the U.S. government.
Some of the things that you looked at, some of the landmarks, have a lot of similarity to other assassinations that someone like me has studied. In the Hendrix case, first of all, you have a use of an inside operator, somebody very close, and somebody who the target trusts, all right, but doesn't understand that the guy already has a dual allegiance. In this case, it appears to be Michael Jeffrey, his manager, who it's been unearthed later, had both intelligence ties and mob connections.
Michael Jeffries, I believe, he was the bassist. He was a part of the Animals, the group, and he was also the manager of Jimi Hendrix, which is kind of interesting. Fun fact.
Fun fact! Mike Jeffrey is an interesting take. He begins working for the government in the National Service. He works into the military. He joins military intelligence, and at that point, his career enters an obscure phase. So there's little known about his activities with MI6, except to say that he was stationed in Egypt and he spoke Russian fluently. He boasted about his involvement with Mafia figures, but no one took him seriously. After his death, there were documents and news articles that he had in his possession that indicated that possibly he was telling the truth. And there are indications over the years that yes, he did have mob ties. Jeffrey went out of his way to make life difficult for Hendrix. He would book him in Toronto one night, and then he'd have him booked in Miami, and then the next night he'd do one night in California, and he kept him exhausted, he kept him dependent, and he kept him under control. Jeffrey was a very devious human being. He set up a dummy corporation he called Yameta, and much of the stolen money went into this corporation, and then it was divided between two banks, the Chemical Bank of Nassau and the Nova Scotia Bank. Jeffrey was stealing money from him, sabotaging his career, planning people around him to spy on him and to subvert his own activities, his own life. And Hendrix, yeah, he had a growing awareness that this was happening to him, and he knew who to blame. And then when he discovered that the money was missing, he filed a suit against Michael Jeffrey. And Hendrix's death occurs just before Michael Jeffrey's appearance in the courtroom to answer to Jimi Hendrix on the lawsuit.
Not only was Michael Jeffrey stealing Jimi Hendrix's money, his contract as manager was ending, and he also felt that Hendrix's new music wouldn't sell.
Sounds like a tactic of a Fed to me. I mean, there's so many parallels to what's going on now. I want to go back and see if there are any documents about the Jimi Hendrix case. You know, it's like, I really want to do a deep dive and file some Freedom of Information Acts about like what was going on. But that happened in the UK. So it's kind of hard. All right. So I think this is the last one. And this is what I believe how Jimi Hendrix died. This is because it's physically impossible for him to have died the way that they say he did. So let's go ahead and play this.
And he had a $2 million insurance policy on Hendrix's life. Clearly, it suited the US government, the Mafia, and in particular, Michael Jeffrey, for Jimi to be neutralized. But just how did Jimi Hendrix die?
All right, now it's been said for 30 years that Jimi Hendrix choked on his own vomit. It was said that he died of a heroin overdose. Of course, none of that's true. He didn't choke to death on his own vomit. Something had to make him sick. But when he was wheeled into the emergency room, his throat was cleared, and the physician wrote that great masses of red wine came gushing out of his stomach and his lungs. So as I reenact the death of Jimi Hendrix, he must have been held down, a gallon of wine poured down his throat until he drowned. There were only 20 milligrams of alcohol in his blood when he was brought to the emergency room, which means there wasn't even enough time for that alcohol to enter his system So the cause of death was drowning, and it looks to me like it was a forced drowning. Now, Eric Burden of the Animals has claimed that Jimi Hendrix committed suicide. If that was the intent, it's very likely that he would have taken all the barbiturates in his possession. So it's clear that suicide was not the object. If suicide had been the intent, and if he had died accidentally, it's doubtful that he would have been fully dressed. He was found fully clothed. When the ambulance drivers arrived, they said that no one else was there. Monica Danneman claimed to be there, and of course her testimony has holes in it the size of the Brooklyn Bridge. Because he was fully clothed, we know that it wasn't an accident. We know that he didn't just die in his sleep. He was in his London hotel room, and he must have been restrained. It's very doubtful that he sat down to drink the red wine and filled up his stomach and his lungs. I've never heard of such a thing. The only other possibility is that his head was held in a sink full of wine until he drowned, or he was held down and it was poured down his throat. And I think this is the most likely scenario because it's doubtful that his stomach would be so full of wine. I think he was held down, it was forced down his throat, filled his lungs, and he was dead within minutes.
So that's a sad ending of Jimi Hendrix, and it has so many parallels to what is happening today, in my opinion, with all these musicians that are so outspoken, and then they just end up, killing themselves or sewer sliding, and it's just very interesting to me. What do you think?
Yeah, it's just another ongoing example of how musical people can be very influential. They can be very, opinionated, and they can change the world. But then the people that are paired up with them to kind of gatekeep them, they're like the on or off switch. They're the person that gets to decide how this story goes. And when they get out of control, then they take them out. And it's pretty evident that this is a consistent pattern. And in fact, I think it's something that is happening today with musical artists in the world today. If they were doing it back then, they're for sure doing it now. That's why all the people going independent are being ostracized or they're being unalived or whatever. So it's a
sad world to be in the music industry right now. Like, it's scary, I'm sure, for some people that are already in it to do their own thing. Like Michael Jackson, I just talked about. And then I want to replay the Bobby Fuller case, because that one still messes me up, because he was so beat up and everything. And they just said, oh, he killed himself. I don't even know if I can say that on YouTube. But yeah, so that's all I got about Jimi Hendrix. I think he was offed by the mob and his manager because he was saying the wrong things. And now I got volume 70 of Please Excuse My Sense of Humor. So I hope you guys enjoy.
Some people might find some of these jokes offensive. If you are one of those people, I'm sorry that you cannot take a joke. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey there, mama, gonna set the groove, gonna make you shine, gonna make you move. Oh, 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 oh. I love you so, she's gonna rock my turn, gonna make it grow, yeah. Oh, yeah, all right. No.
Mind, Zuckerberg runs Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram, Jewish. Alphabet, which owns Google and YouTube, is run by a couple of Jews. Larry Page, Sergey Brin, okay? So that's YouTube, Google, Facebook, Instagram. TikTok is now owned by Larry Ellison. So that's TikTok as well. Those are your social platforms. Out of the big media conglomerates, you got Disney, which is run by Bob Iger. You got NBC and Universal, which are run by Jews. You have CBS, Warner Bros., Paramount Studios, now run by David Ellison. You've got the Salem Radio Network and Brad Parscale working on behalf of Israel. You've got Fox News, Wall Street Journal, under the Murdochs, they're Friends of Israel. You've got Daily Wire, Prager University, Breitbart, all run by Jewish editors, Jewish owners. Are you starting to get it?
Counting or not counting, the snowflakes everywhere.
Counting or not counting the liberals in despair. Counting or not counting the right-wing voices silenced. Counting or not counting gang violence. Oh no. Another debate I have won, although I've been shocked by a gun. Remember this day, the day before September 11th. I'll still be owning the libs, but in heaven. Good Christians out there, wherever you are, I'll still be owning the libs. Don't you worry. And remember these 4 words. We are Charlie Kirk.
Martin Luther King Jr. had a dream that one day his little black children would be judged fairly, not by colors of our skin, of our skin, of our skin, only by the contents of our character. Martin Luther King Jr. had a dream that one day his 4 little black children would be judged fairly.
What's Woodley?
Automobile pioneer Henry Ford blamed Jews for everything. He assembled a staff of experts to research the origin of European Jews. His research cost him several millions of dollars. His conclusion was that these Jews, who are committing all sorts of crimes, were rapidly taking economic and political control of America. He bought himself a weekly newspaper and used it to spread his anti-Semitic propaganda. In a series of 91 weekly articles called The International Jew that claimed there was a global Jewish conspiracy to take over the world.
I demand Benjamin Netanyahu take 20 Palestinians in his house. And I demand his candy-ass son in Miami suit up in body armor and go to Gaza and fight these people or get the hell out of my world. And I don't say that because I hate Jews. I say that because I'm not a toilet bowl you sit on and shit on. I'm not here to eat your fucking shit. You fucking got that? Admit it right now, Palm Beach Pete. Admit it right now. As a Mossad agent working directly for Netanyahu, what is your game?
Release everything. Release every email. Let's get to the bottom of this. That's my opinion.
Adam, thanks for the call.
Why we know why people are holding back, because there are people in high power who are compromised, obviously.
Well, there you go. Jeffrey Epstein says release it all. So he's not Jeffrey Epstein, folks. And that's my opinion. Don't be mad at me. Most people agree with me.
Shalom, Rabbi. Thanks to pray. But that's open. You just say.
Open the page. Number 774.
Stop.
770, 770, 770, 770, 770, 770, 770.
The Justice League of America, the protectors of a disproportionate amount of the world's wealth, led by Juperman. $30. What do you need $20 for? Spider Jew.
My goyim senses are tingling. My daughter.
Shabbat Man.
I'm here to break you out, Jeffrey, to the Shabbat Mobile.
It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's a well-balanced Roth IRA. Aqua Jew.
Hypothetically speaking, of course. What if you and all your fish friends hypothetically swam into the Mariana Trench for me to search for some shekels?
And the Jew Lantern.
So, what do you do again?
Well, I can recommend diversified investment products like stocks or index funds to match your risk tolerance and manage your portfolio over time.
I'm not gonna say what kind of superhero it was. It was a Jewish superhero. What will they make Trump do next? Tune in next time on an all-new episode of The Justice League. Spooky dookie.
Your page has your favorite book. It's the favorite book.
Does anyone else think that the Big E was innocent? Now, this is just my opinion, may not be true, but I believe he did that to himself because he was framed and couldn't prove it. It didn't matter what the truth was. His life was ruined. It could have been an attempt to slander the greatest country on the earth, Israel. What if anti-Semites created this story to push Jewish hate and to slander a successful Jewish businessman? Makes sense to me.
Do you personally dislike homosexuals?
Of course, they are disgusting. What sort of people are they? How can you go? I never knew what they were doing. That's how I've been told recently that what they do is terrible, disgusting. But I was ready to ignore that if there was proof that that's how he's born, abnormal. But now the proof is not there.
There's no air. Why did I think it was a good idea to go into outer space?
Yeah, guys. Thank you for watching another episode of Skiba News Nation. Thank you, Jake, for the current news. And I like how it all balances out at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
Keeping it balanced, keeping it light, and trying to do what's right.
Yep. All right. We'll stay awake, not woke. Subscribe and stay tuned and question everything, guys. All right. We'll see you later.
If you like what we do here on Skiba News Nation, please like and subscribe. And also share with others so we can grow the biggest truth-seeking community on the internet. Huge shout out to all of our Patreons out there. If you like bonus content, you want some extra Skiba News Nation stuff, please go to patreon.com/Skiba News Nation.
Son of the legendary lost Jeremiah Skiba.
It's like I don't even want to wake up.